everyone, Jason here from Usable Smoke Productions. In today's video, we'll be talking about detecting and fixing phasing issues in Logic Pro. All right, so let's go ahead and dive right in. The tune we'll be working with today is a tune called The Longest Season, and it's one of my own songs that I'm working on, and I'm in the final mix stages of working on this tune. Okay, so some of the things that I'm checking for, not everybody that listens to your music is going to be listening to your music with great headphones on or anything like that. Potentially, maybe they're listening to it in their car, or maybe they're just playing it through their phone speaker, or maybe they're listening, through their Alexa or something like that. So you want to make sure that your mix translates really well to a variety of listening setups, right? Okay, so when you're mixing, use a good set of mixing headphones, listen to it on monitors, but you probably want to bounce your mix and listen to it in these other types of setups as well. And when I was doing that, I noticed that one of my tracks, this piano track here, let's see, it's the Steinway Grand Piano instrument, software instrument through Logic, was not, it was getting lost in the mix on smaller speakers. I wasn't really hearing the piano being, it wasn't very clear. It sounded kind of distant. I was losing its low end. And those are telltale examples of phase issues, okay? You can have phase issues on any kind of stereo recorded instrument. So if you're recording drums and you have left and right overheads or something like that, or you're recording stereo guitars and you have a left and a right signal coming through on your track, it's possible that you can run into some of these phase issues. Piano is a classic example. And even though this is a software instrument, it's coming through the sampler, which means it was recorded in stereo from a real piano, right? And even during the recording and sampling process, you can run into phase issues, as we will see here in this example. So let's take a listen first here to the just to the tune here. We'll go to the chorus section so we can kind of get an idea, get a vibe of what things are sounding like, and we'll go from there. Here we go. Let's take a listen. Okay, so we get an idea. That's the chorus section, and we can hear that we've got acoustic guitar, we've got electric guitar. Later, there's a guitar solo. We'll hear some bass. Right now, I'm using the auto drummer. I'll go back in later and track some real drums for this tune. We've got some synth, not much, just a couple of synth things going on. We've got our piano, and then we've got our vocals, our verse and pre-chorus and chorus, and we've got a bunch of different vocal things going on. All right, so let's take a listen to this piano. Let's figure out what it's doing here exactly, okay, and why we have a problem. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and solo this Steinway Grand Piano, and we'll hear it in isolation here, okay? Let's take a listen. Okay, so sounds nice. I chose the Steinway Grand Piano because I liked the way it sounds. I didn't really feel like there was a whole lot that I needed to do to it. I like the stock EQ and the compressor and the tape delay and all that other good stuff that it comes with. It just seemed like a really nice fit for this tune. So I kept it and I just continued on mixing, and I didn't really think too much of it. Again, as I started to build the arrangement, I listened back. I started hearing that it was getting lost in the mix, and nothing I would do here, changing the EQ or the compression or anything, it wasn't really fixing the issue. Okay, so one thing that I like to do on my mix bus is I like to put this gain plugin on my mix bus, and it allows me to do a couple of things here to see if maybe there's some phase issues. Okay, the first thing that it allows me to do is it allows me to toggle this mono switch. All right, so I can listen to my complete mix in mono with the flip of a switch here, right? I can solo my tracks and hear what they sound like in mono as well. But it also lets me flip the polarity here. It's got a phase invert switch. Okay, so if I'm listening back, to my track and I listen to it in mono, I can flip the phase to see if any of those missing elements, if I'm missing the bass or, it sounds distant and so forth, if those come back once I flip the phase. That is another way of telling if you have an issue with your phase beyond just using your ears and kind of playing the game of self-doubt. Am I really hearing this? Am I really hearing the low end disappear? Is it just my ears or what is it, right? So this is a good way of checking. Let's go ahead and do this and see what we've got. Okay, so I'm going to solo the Steinway grand piano, and I'm going to toggle the mono on and off. It's a stereo. Mono. Okay, so when I flip this mono switch, I can hear that it's losing some of its low end. It does not sound as full. It sounds a bit more distant. There's just something off with the signal. And there it is in stereo again, and I can definitely hear that we're running into some issues. Okay, so let's go through the steps. This could be, it could be one of the plugins. It could be a send. Let's turn all that stuff off, and we'll just listen to the sample on its own without any kind of processing or effects, and let's hear if it changes again when I flip this mono switch. Yeah, I'm hearing the low end disappear through my headphones. So this is a problem because when it is played through on smaller speakers or it's being listened to in mono, we're going to lose that whole tonal aspect of this track. All right, so just to make absolutely sure that I'm not hallucinating, I'm going to flip this phase invert and see if it brings back that low end when I'm listening to it in mono. Let's check it out. Okay, low end's gone. There, low end came back. Yep. Okay, so now I'm about 99% sure we've got a phase issue here. There's another thing that we can do to really, really check, to make sure we're, really tackling the right issue here. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to go to my mix bus, and I'm going to add a plugin called the correlation meter. You can find this under metering and correlation meter stereo, and you're going to put that on your mix bus. You put it after the gain plugin, okay? And make sure that you don't have any other plugins active after your correlation meter, otherwise it may not work properly, okay? So how does this correlation meter work? What does it do? All right, well, it doesn't really do anything to your sound, but what it will show you is if your sound is in phase or not. The meter will activate once it hears a signal, and if the meter is bouncing from the 0 to the +1 over here into this green area, that means that your signal is in phase, and it will translate well to a stereo mix. It will translate well to mono as well. You won't be missing any information. You won't be missing any low end. It'll sound nice and full, and you won't run into any issues. If it's between 0 and -1, as you start to get into this red territory, it means you've got a problem. Okay, so let's check it out and see what we got here. So I'm going to solo my Steinway track. Again, I have none of the effects on, and we're going to go ahead and take a listen to what this sounds like here. Here we go. Okay, so you can see the correlation meter is starting to it's starting to register here on the left side, which means we are uh, in in a bad way. It definitely is out of phase. Now we've confirmed it 100%. Our ears were not lying. We checked with our ears, seeing if the bass, uh, you know, tonality of bass disappeared from the signal. We checked the phase. We inverted the phase. It came back. So this is evidence now that we've got a phase issue. So um, what will happen when we flip the phase? Let's check the correlation meter. Now we're in that positive area. Okay? So to solve this, we can do a couple of different things. I can go to my Steinway grand piano track, and at the top of my plugin chain, I can add the gain plugin. Okay? We want to add it as a stereo plugin. And I can, right here, I can phase invert it right there before I add any other kind of processing. If I phase invert it and we play it through and we check it and our correlation meter says that we're in phase, we have maybe solved the problem. Now I'm saying maybe because we still want to check what it sounds like in mono, and we want to see if we're missing any of that low end from the signal. Okay? So let's find out. Let's check it out. So we're leaving the phase invert on, and we're going to sum it to mono, and we're going to see if that low end is there in phase. Okay, it's not bad. I'm hearing maybe a little bit of that low end disappear. It's not horrible. It's not as bad as it was before. Okay, so this is one option that we can do to bring our track back to in phase so that when we're hearing it with the rest of the mix, we're hearing it clearly. All right, so I'm going to unsolo this. We're going to listen to everything here at the beginning and see if this is working for us. Okay, here we go. Let me turn off my correlation meter here. Let's see if it sounds good. Okay, not bad. Let's add these other plugins. Gives us a little more dimension to the sound. Okay, I am hearing a much better result here. Okay, so this is working for me. If I was still unsatisfied with the way that the plugin sounds once I invert the phase, I might want to consider using a different plugin. So let's explore that option. I'm going to go ahead and solo my track again, and I'm going to keep my my metering active here. I'm going to turn off all the plugins here except for the main instrument here, the sampler instrument. And what I'm going to do, this is, let me X out of this really quick so you guys can see better. This is a really easy thing you can do. You can control click or right click on your track. You can duplicate it, new track with duplicate settings. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and select my track. And this will have all the MIDI information, okay? And I'm going to right click on it. I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to copy it down to this new track here. All right, paste, replace. Any automation data, yep, I'm going to copy that. Okay, so now what I can do is I can try to find a substitute plugin that's similar to this Steinway grand piano plugin from Logic that maybe doesn't have any phase issues, right? So there's a couple ways that we can do this. We can go to our sampler plugin and open that up. And here we will find, under acoustic pianos, we'll find a bunch of different instrument choices that we can listen to and see if they're in phase. All right, so just for now, I'm going to select this Yamaha Grand Piano one. I don't know how this sounds, but we're going to open up our mix bus again and bring up those plugins, the gain and correlation meter, and we're going to see if this one, let me downsize this a little bit here. There we go. We're going to see if this one sounds any better, if the phase is okay or not. Okay, let's check it out. Okay, so good news, it's in phase. Translates well to mono. So that's an option. Maybe, we'll see if, maybe adding some of these other plugins and sends that I had before gives it the same kind of dimension and quality that we had before. Let's find out. I'm going to give that a maybe. There's some things that I'm hearing that I don't like. Again, it's just preference for me. As the songwriter, you want to make sure you have sounds that you like, that fit the character of the tune you're working on. This doesn't quite cut it for me. I'm hearing like a weird like pad kind of sound or something going on there. So I probably wouldn't use this one. But I can explore, right? I can explore, and maybe if I find something close, I can play with, my channel EQ, my compressor, delay, and sends, and all of that, and maybe find something here that's reasonably close to what I had before. Or, I can go third party too. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my library here and pull up pianos. There might be some other stock options here. There's the Yamaha there. There's Bösendorfer. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but that's another potential option if I wanted to stay stock. But I have another one here, third party, that I really like. I'm going to go ahead and go down here and pull it up. It's this one from Arturia, which is really nice. Where did I put it here? There we go. Analog Lab 5. And there's some good ones here that I think might get me pretty close to where I was with my original Steinway. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and click on my piano options here. Okay, and I can go ahead and play these one at a time and see what they sound like. Let's check out this American Small Studio. That actually sounds pretty good, but I'm noticing there's some phasing going on in this example as well. Okay, again, you're going to get this pretty commonly with drums. You're going to get this pretty commonly with piano if you're recording piano in stereo. So I want to try and stay away from that. Even though that's kind of got the same character as what I'm looking for, I'm not liking that I'm going to be having the same kind of phase issues. So let's check out this cinema layer. All right, cool sound, not right for this tune. Let's try Grand Piano 1. All right, well, you can see that one's completely in phase, right? I mean, the correlation meter jumped all the way up to +1. That's totally, completely in phase, probably because it's a mono track, all right? Some of these plugins will give you a sampled sound that's mono, that was just recorded with one mic. And if you have a mono track, it's recorded with just one mic, there's no phase issues you can get from that. Because it's literally just one microphone, right? That's why a lot of guitarists, track in mono, and they'll add effects later. They'll add sends and plugins later. So let's kind of experiment with that. Here's our mono grand piano, and I can create a little delay here. That gives it a little bit more dimension. We're still in phase, which is nice. So that's another option. Is you can go with uh, a mono plugin, mono software instrument, and then just add some of your processing later. And that is another potential option. Okay, so um, we're going to kind of wrap it up here. These are some options you can try to detect phase issues in your projects, in your music. Some potential fixes. Uh, once you've detected the problem and you know it's there, there's some different things that you can do that we've covered, right? You can insert the gain plugin. Sorry about that. My timer just went off, which means we are getting close here to the end of the video. All right, so um, yeah, you can put a gain plugin in, and you can phase invert it. That potentially can solve the issue. You can try a different plugin. Check to make sure that the correlation meter is moving to the right side, the positive +1 area in the green, so that you know that your tracks will translate well to a mono mix and translate better to multiple listening sources, right? Headphones, your sound system, your car, being played through on a phone speaker or through an Alexa or something like that. You want it to translate well, and this is a good way of checking. And hopefully, I've given you some potential fixes here for this kind of issue. All right, so once again, thanks for tuning in. If this was helpful to you, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. And you'll be seeing more content soon, which hopefully through my trial and error and my mistakes, you can get some benefit from some of my experiences here as I've entered the world of songwriting and music production. Hopefully it was helpful to you. Again, thank you for watching, and we'll be signing off, and we'll see you soon in another video. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.